Hello everyone, this is Shiv Prem, a legal intern at LEXIS and Company and currently pursuing BLLB honor from Central University of South Bihar. So, in the today's session, I will be dealing with the human rights violations, a threat to humanity. This part will also be covered in two parts. The first section will be dealing with the introduction section and the violations. Further, in the second video, I will be dealing with the case study. So, now let us start with the introduction part. As while human rights have long been defended and promoted as a value in their own right, the evolution of global politics has increasingly shown that human rights abuses can also become international security issues and threaten the stability of the international system. For instance, terrorism can be fueled by human rights violations. Migration flows are expected by refugees fleeing abusive governments. Failed, failed states incapable of defending their own citizens can easily trigger civil wars and destabilize entire regions with spillover effects onto the global area. Almost every day there are chilling instances of violence, ethnic cleansing, heinous torture, child abuse, manslaughter, and several other human rights violations. Despite the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and special covenants provided for the rights of the children, women, and disabled, crimes continue unhindered and unabated. The soul, the soul-searching question is: has humanity been relinquished? Human rights describe equal rights and freedom for anyone and everyone regardless of race, color, sex, language, religion, or political affiliation. All humans live in a societies together, as stated by UN Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. All human beings are both free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and consequence and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. The statement defines that each and every human is entitled to all rights. Human rights are fundamental to human existence. There may be disagreement on the details of human rights, but barely any on the basic aspects of them. Human rights were always violated in human history. The leaders mostly oppressed people and did not grant their entitled human rights. Every religious leader, in some cases, were responsible for the violation of human rights. In India, various mechanisms such as the National Human Rights Commission, State Human Rights Commission, and Women's Commission have been constituted at the center. And in the states for upholding human rights causes. Legislation, legislative safeguards, that is the Constitution of India, which is the supreme lex, that is the law of a land, and multifarious laws such as the Human Rights Act 1997 are in existence but in vain. Human rights violations are the order of the day and the above law enforcement arsenals fall short of implications. Rights are merely enumerated on paper and hence remain a dead letter. A state commits human rights violations either directly or indirectly. Violations can either be intentionally performed by the state and or come as a result of the state falling to prevent the violation. When a state engages in human rights violations, various actors can be involved, such as police, judges, prosecutors, government officials, and more. The violations can be physically violent in nature, such as police brutality, police brutality, while rights such as the right to a fair trial can also be violated where no physical violence is involved. The second type of violation, that is the failure by a state to protect, occurs when there is a conflict between individuals or groups within a society. If the state doesn't does nothing to intervene and protect vulnerable people and groups, it's practicing in the violations. In the United States, the state failed to protect black Americans when lynchings frequently occurred around the country. Since many of those responsible for the lynchings were also state actors like the police, this is an example of both types of violations occurring at the same time. So now, coming to human rights violations, human rights advocates agree that 60 years after its use, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is still more a dream than a reality. Violations exist in every part of the world. For example, Amnesty International's 2009 World Report and other sources show that individuals are tortured and abused in at least 81 countries, face unfair trials in at least 54 countries, restricted in their freedom of expression in at least 77 countries. Not only that, but women and children in particular are marginalized in numerous ways. The press is not free in many countries, and disinteresteds are silenced, too often or permanently. While some gains have been made over the course of the last 6 decades, human rights violations still plague the world today. To help inform you of the true situation throughout the world, this session provides examples of violations of 6 articles of the UDHR Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That is, first one is Article 3, that is the right to live free. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of a person. As estimated, 6,500 people were killed in 2007 in armed conflict in Afghanistan, nearly half being non-combatant civilians, deaths at the hands of insurgents. Hundreds of civilians were also killed in a suicide attack by armed groups. In Uganda, 1,500 people die each week in the internally displaced person camps, according to the World Health Organization. 55 million have died in these camps. Vietnamese authorities forced at least 75,000 drug addicts and prostitutes into 71 overpopulated rehab camps, labeling the detention at the high risk of contracting HIV/AIDS but providing no treatment. The founding principles for the EU's international action derive from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, ratified by the United Nations in 1948, and its following convents of 1966, which established that the rights of individuals can be the above those set by the national authorities held in 1995. Human rights are also at the core of the European integration process and its long-term aspirations. All member states are constitutional democracies and share a set of common values based on the primacy of human rights. Article 6 of the consolidated version of the Treaty on the European Union establishes the founding values of the EU, that is European Union. That's all for now. Let's meet up in the next video where I will deal with a case study. So please do like and subscribe the channel. Thank you.